characters. Still want more? Also available is the LXT Dark Atlas book, filled with prose stories about all the baddies and illustrations from a wide selection of comic artists. There are plenty of add-ons you can purchase separately, like comic books, stickers, original art from the game, and more. It's going to be a howling good time. LXT live now on Kickstarter.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, man.
Welcome. Episode 4?
Sure.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast. Decade number 2. That's what we could say, right?
Ooh.
Yes, that's true. Actually, the start of decade number... No, you're right, because we started in 2010.
We're in
mid-second
decade, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Because I know we went nuts in around 2012. Stores and podcasts and comics. Yeah, I think that's when it was, right? Or was it 2010?
Did we go? Did we just go? Yeah, did we go nuts or did we go these nuts?
We went deep into these nuts.
We went beer nuts. Frankly, the condition you get when you're drinking and you wake up with cotton balls.
Here's a cotton ball. Here's a question. when you go to the bar and they got the nuts and the peanuts and everybody grabs them, do you eat those?
No.
Sometimes.
No.
I prefer the nuts to the pretzels.
You know, they don't do it at it. I've never seen that. I know that's a thing, but I've never experienced the nuts.
They've gone away. Yeah, they've gone away since the COVID.
Yeah, I never knew about that. We went to a bar once and the sign said boneless chicken $1. And when we all approached the bar, we're like, "Is that true? Boneless chicken for $1?" She said, "Yep." And I said, "Could we get that?" She said, "Yes, but I need your dollars first." So me and Jurassic Ernie and Bob all put our dollars, $3. She took our $3 and gave us 3 hard-boiled eggs. She goes, "Here you go. Here you go, boy." So that was it. It worked.
They were boneless chickens.
Yeah, boneless chicken, $1.
Yeah, technically. That reminds me of The Odd Couple, where Oscar's faking choking on a chicken bone, and Felix is like, "No, it's boneless chicken." He goes, "How could it walk?"
It's true.
Boneless
Flops
chicken.
around.
Yeah. Let me tell you. All right, here's a question. Let me ask you about the LXT thing. At the end of the commercial, the cover for the Dark Atlas is painted. Who painted that? That's beautiful.
The Dark Atlas painting is by Jaime Carrillo, and you know him from right next to us in San Diego. He's always set up, of
course,
in San Diego next to us. So,
wow.
I asked him to do a pinup because the Dark Atlas book is all prose stories. They're all horror prose stories written by my son Nicholas and myself, and I wanted a piece of art to accompany them. But I thought, would it be cool if I get a whole bunch of people to draw their versions of my character? So I called up Jaime and I asked him, and he goes, "Well, I like all these guys. I can't make up my mind." Scoot did one. He did one of the Frenzy, which is awesome.
Scooter pie.
But Jaime's like, "I don't want to do just one. I want to do a couple of them."
Wow.
I'm like, well, it's only one per, unless you want to do the cover. But I didn't want to ask you to do that much work. And he goes, "I'll do cover," and that's what he did, and it's astounding.
It's like it reminds me of great fantasy covers and the great. And it's funny, I don't know why, but I've been on a kick looking at old Gold Key covers that were painted and novel quality. Yeah. So
he does a bunch of work for Acme and stuff like that. He does Star Wars stuff. Just really just painted amazement. Amazing stuff.
No, that's cool. Scoot today giving us his imitation of Sheev Palpatine.
He's bringing the dark forces with him.
Yeah. He's all hooded up.
Vader is right behind Artie.
Yeah, he is right there. Yeah, that's a cardboard. It's like it's a plastic stand-up, kind of like a corrugated plastic stand-up.
Oh yeah.
And I got him.
When did you get that bench back there, Artie? Is that new?
Yeah, that's been there for a little bit, but it's been on the other side of the room. And
okay.
I rearranged stuff around, and I really worked out the muscles. You know, I like once I got this
Jimmy the muscles.
Yeah, I got this new camera that goes wide, so I was able to. The other camera was there, so now you see everything, and I don't have my green screen doesn't cover the space. So I had to make sure my background looked good.
Yeah, looks
so
good.
I threw up my spinner racks over. I got my bench with my guys on there.
Yeah.
I got Wolf Boy and Cray and Dr. Seuss, and so my background has to look cool. I can't just have like something weird back there, like groceries or something. You know,
like me.
Yeah, or you, or like underwear hanging on, or dirty clothes or something.
Or gloves.
I got to make sure everything's appropriate behind me, because people are going to zoom in. It's like, yeah. Say,
absolutely.
That's weird. Yeah.
There's a pipe back there.
If people want, they should, if they don't already know, and I imagine a lot of our viewers and listeners do know, Artie and Franco were on the Comics channel last night doing a famous cartoonist says stuff.
Yeah.
And they were talking, and they talked about LXT, and they talked about a lot of other things.
Yeah.
So
that was a good show, man. It was very spontaneous. Mostly when I do my says things shows, I just go whenever. I just like, I feel good now. My coffee's kicking in. Let's go. And so that's what happened yesterday. I went on, and then Franco was like, "Hey, I'm here," and I sent him a link,
I just sat down in the studio and I said, "Let me check Facebook," and I saw Artie pop up, and I'm like, "Oh, he just started his show."
Because I was gonna get on there and draw stuff live, and just like, because that's usually when I don't feel like drawing or I'm bored, I go on there, so I'm forced to draw live, and it just goes by faster. And so we talked for almost 3 hours, and I didn't draw anything. So I had to stay awake real late, and I was like, man, I was struggling. I had to have some more coffee. It was crazy, but that's kind of where I'm at now. Yeah,
I should have stayed on with you last night, Artie.
Yeah,
I should have stayed on. It was traumatic things happened after I got off with you.
I heard you almost got superpowers.
Oh yeah,
a little bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So as soon as we got off the air, my wife came downstairs, and I heard the dogs, and I'm like, well, the dogs are usually asleep in the bedroom with her, but I heard her, and she came down, and she's like, I think there's something in the bedroom, and I'm like, well, I don't know what that means. What is something? She goes, I think it's a bird, but I think maybe a bat. And I'm like, well, that's not good. And I go up there, and I'm like, a bird. I open up, and as soon as I open up the door, because she had closed the door to the bedroom, this thing just swoops right next to my head. I'm like, what the?
Whoa.
It was a bat, and it was like about this big. It was like big bat. And I went up there, and I'm like, well, she's like, well, what are we gonna do? I'm like, well, I don't know. It's midnight. It's not like we can call someone. Who are we gonna call? Like the Bat Police?
Call Batman.
Commissioner Gordon? I can't do
call
that.
Call Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze and the Penguin were ready. Yeah.
So we had to get it out of the bedroom, and I'm like, well, there's a window on the far side of the bedroom. If I go over there, open the window, and pull the screen out, maybe I could get it to fly out the window. So it was silly, because when I went into the bedroom, I went in with my phone, and then when it swooped at me, I dropped my phone because I wasn't expecting to come at me like that. Come at me, bro.
Come at me, Brett.
Yeah, so I dropped my phone in there. She's like, we should call like wildlife. I'm like, well, the wildlife number is in my phone because we had them in our attic, so they obviously got out of our attic and in the house.
What else have you had in your attic that you had to call wildlife before? You got them on speed dial. All right, fair enough. All right, fair enough.
Raccoons.
That's another story. Raccoons, ghosts, whole bunch of stuff.
Ghosts.
So
as G. Kuro asked, does this want to inspire you now to become a superhero?
Yeah, sure. Uh-huh.
A crime fighter, more like it.
Exactly. Criminals are a cowardly lot. Therefore, I shall become.
Franco has a symbol now to draw.
Where's that Danny Elfman music?
He's gonna fix that window in Bruce Wayne's mansion.
Yep.
So I'm kind of like, all right, well, what do we do mode? What? Okay, how do I get this? I got to get to the window. So at first I go in there with a cardboard box because I'm like, all right, this is going to help me defend myself against the thing. And it swoops at me again, and I throw the cardboard box in the air, and I scream, and then I run out of the room.
He screams.
I scream and I run out of the room, and I'm like, all right, I gotta kind of suit up. I gotta get ready. So there was.
You're already thinking of it.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, when we moved into this house way many years ago, the owner left a motorcycle helmet in here, and I had brought it to school because I used it as a things are happening. I used it as a prop for drawing. So I'm like, oh, that's in the garage. I'll go get that. So I get that, and I try and put it on my head, but I got a big fat head, and the person who owned the house was this very thin, lovely lady who it fit her head, but it did not fit my head. So then my son is coming out. He's like, what's all the ruckus? Because he didn't say ruckus. He said, what the hell's happening?
Hey, man.
So he comes out, and I said, we got a bat. And he goes, what? We got a bat. So he and I wind up dressing up. He puts on the motorcycle helmet. He's got a big scarf around it so he can't get at its neck because he was afraid he was going to be turned into a vampire.
Yeah, they suck your blood right out of the jugular. Yeah.
I got a big towel, which I accidentally duct taped to my head because I put a baseball cap on, but I accidentally managed to duct tape it to my head because I didn't want – and I had one of those COVID plastic shields. So
you guys actually wore superhero suits.
Yeah, we had to.
Come at this thing.
This thing was like big. It was like it had to have been at least 4 or 5 feet wide, at least.
4 or 5
but
feet
it was
wide.
really only this big.
Giant. It's a beast. It's a kaiju monster.
So we walked, and it like freaked out. The dogs were freaking out because they were all over the place.
Yeah, they want to eat it.
And we had to get them out of there. And we finally got in there. We opened the window. I pulled the screen out. The thing is like swooping, and we're like ah. But we're all dressed, so we're fine. I don't know why we were still cringing from this thing. And then I get the screen out, and I take the screen. It's a big, giant screen because it's a big window, and I'm using it like a deflector shield, trying to get the thing, and it bounces off or almost bounces off the thing, and then it goes out the window, and I'm like, whew, and we shut the window, and it's like everything's okay. And we take off our stuff, and we're like, okay. And at first, I got real scared because I thought it pooped on my pillow. Because my wife left the remote control for the TV on the pillow, and I thought that was big giant bat turd, but it wasn't.
It might have been a bat egg. You never know. Those things lay eggs. It could be baby bats pretty soon in your house.
Can't be that big that it's like a log on your pillow. Or
well, my mind was racing, Johnny. I don't know how big logs bat poops are. I don't know.
Hey, did the bats make noise when you were chasing? It was making noise.
It was
just flapping.
It was.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Artie, do the flapping sound.
Yeah.
It wasn't going. Because I know when you squeeze a rabbit, it goes like that. If you,
I could have sworn. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of noise, but I could have sworn when I first went in the door and it swooped at my head, it said, "Get the fuck out of the way!" But it didn't. That was just my imagination.
Hockey sticks, fornication, without the commitment of love, feces. Yeah, that's
Don wants to know. Don wants to know how long the attack lasted.
The attack of us on the bat or the bat on us?
All of it.
Because I didn't
know exactly. I would say all of it. Yes.
It was a good half hour and 20 minutes of us. 20 minutes of that was us dressing.
They're hard to catch too.
Yeah.
I got some bat stories from when I was younger. Yeah.
I told my dad this morning. He goes, "Why don't you just throw a blanket on it?" And and I'm like, he goes, "I caught 3 in this house, because I went to go see him today." And he goes, "I caught 3 in this house by just throwing a blanket on it." I'm like, well, this would have been information that would have been useful yesterday.
Exactly. Thanks, Dad.
I saw a video of a guy an exterminator who people were freaking out, and the guy showed up. And they go, "All right, where's the bat?" And it was on the wall. He just walked in and took it. And said, "All right, see ya. That'd be $50."
This thing was floating around. So anyway. Yeah. Long story short, my wife was kind of freaking out. We were all kind of freaking out, but she was freaking out a little bit because what happened was she was asleep for a while in the room, and the dog was kind of going a little nuts, and she's like, "Oh, maybe he has to go out or something." That's why she got up and she saw the stupid thing.
Oh.
So she was asleep for a while, and the dogs were kind of acting up for a while. So long story short, she winds up calling the health department, and she went to go get shots today because she had to go get a series of shots. She has to go again on Saturday and again on Wednesday. It's a whole series of these things, and we have to take the dogs to the vet tomorrow now to get them shots and stuff like that. So it's a very expensive bat that
So
just
you have to
happened
get a
us.
shot just if you were in the room with it. If you seen it,
she was asleep in the room, so she doesn't. She
might have licked her.
Yeah.
Might have licked her.
It went on her.
Might have been a lecherous bat. Yeah.
Jesus.
It smelled her.
So just to be on the
So
safe
good.
side, yeah.
They wanted to keep her awake.
A lot of people are making references to the Great Outdoors John Candy with the bat in that scene.
Yeah.
And I agree. Yeah. So
I'm almost as big as John Candy now, so yeah, that's probably.
Oh, stop.
Franco, when we were kids, we used to get bats in my parents' house all the time. Like there's probably like 3 or 4 instances, but the scariest one was one day. We had one similar to yours, where one night we were sleeping. We slept in. I have 2 younger brothers. We slept in an attic because our house was tiny, and my mom came running up there, and we're like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "Oh, there's a bird in the bedroom." I don't know why she thought telling us a bird was better than a bat. That was the first time, and somehow they got it out. And then one time my brother was going to put on his shoe in the morning before school, and he felt something in his shoe, and it like squeaked. And then he went to reach in, he felt it was fuzzy, and then a bat flew out.
Yeah.
And then like a couple other times there was a bat, but there's 2 of them that have pretty gruesome endings. I can tell them on here if you want, of course.
Yeah, do it. I like it.
My dad caught one time in a bucket, and he put it outside, upside down. The bucket had holes in the top, and he put it in the backyard, and we all just kind of forgot about it because at this point it's like the 5th bat. Well, it like winter came and rain got in there and stuff, and then when somehow we were out there in the winter, we remembered like, oh, you put that bucket, and we lifted it up, and the bat was frozen in a block of ice. It was just like frozen. And then
Captain America.
Yeah.
You should put them in your freezer and thaw them out.
That was probably the same bat that came after you. He thawed out and he came out to your house.
Man.
And then when I was in college, these girls we knew got a bat in their apartment, and I was like, "Ooh, I've dealt with bats before." So I had the blanket idea to get
Excuse me, ladies.
Yeah, it was like Ghostbusters at the beginning of the movie where they see the ghost in the library, and Ray's plan is just get her. Remember that? That was my plan. I'm like, all right, guys, get behind me. I got this blanket. And they're like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, we're gonna throw it on the bat, and I threw it, and of course the bat just like it hit the bat and fell down. Then the bat was flying around. I'm like, all right, so the next thing we got to do is get a bucket. So we got the bucket just like my dad did, and we
get a bucket,
stuck it on the wall, and his wings came out the side, and then we pushed even harder. What's that?
Did you put a whole bunch of ice in it first?
Yeah. Well, this part is even funnier. So my one friend was super scared. He barely helped us. And we got it in the bucket, and we took it outside, and we like dumped the bucket out, and it was like hurt from when the wings got, so it was like limping around. And he picked up a cinder block, and he walked over to it. And yeah, that was the end of the
Put it out of its misery.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was there any time did a squeegee enter the story? Juice squeegee or toilet paper or anything like that?
No. Kevin has a helpful hint.
Oh, there you go.
If you could find where it came in, put a mothball in the area, and it will keep them away.
Yeah, well, that would have been information that would have been useful a month ago.
Plus, it's hard to pull those little testicles off those insects to get those. It's real hard to do. It's like, this one doesn't have any. That one's a girl. Oh, well, sorry, next one.
The reason I had the wildlife control number was because we had them come in because we've heard them up there. So he inspected the roof, and he found out where they were coming in and going out. So he put like this funnel where they can get out of it, but they can't come back in because the funnel is pointed away from the house. It's this whole scientific thing. But I guess one decided, because that was a month ago he came by, and he's like, all right, he came back, and he sealed it up after a couple of weeks. They should be out by now. This one, I guess, decided to stay and lounge around for an extra month because it was still in the house, and it decided to come downstairs. So
you got like lounge lizards, but they're bats.
Yeah, we got lounge bats.
Lounge.
I in college, after we moved off campus, the first house that we moved into was this ridiculously like horrible house that had literally in one of the bathrooms, they had shag carpeting on the walls. Why? We don't know. But regardless, we always heard
on the wall.
We're not sure. But and there was a shower there too. So I guess if you forgot your towel, you could rub against the walls and dry yourself off. But there was like scurrying in the living room ceiling, and it was right above, right below the attic. And we're like, oh God, there must be squirrels or something. And gross story, but true. One day, all of a sudden, this like pee was coming through the living room ceiling, and it was the squirrels relieving themselves.
And
out.
it was getting soaked up by the shag carpeting. That's why it was there.
Yeah,
that's probably why they had that in there. Yeah.
Enjoy your dinner, everybody. So
That's not dinner.
Exactly. Franco, somebody wanted to know. Brad wanted to know regarding LXT.
Yeah.
Can you say again what to do for ordering your cards if you don't live in the U.S.?
Oh yes, if you don't live in the U.S., what you can do is you can pledge, and then if we get funded, we'll contact you or you contact us. We'll get your information, and then we'll let you know what shipping is. Shipping will be charged on the Kickstarter. We'll just deduct. It's like $10 because it's $10 flat fee here in the United States. So whatever your shipping is, we'll deduct it from the price that we'll because we'll go to the post office, we'll weigh it, and we'll find it because it's different in every part of the world. So we didn't want to really get dinged on that, so we're doing it that way. Yes,
I hear you.
True story. Oh, and you can put in a U.S. address, and if you need one, write to me, and we'll give you the address of the store that you could put in, and then we'll do it that way. Thank
Very
you.
cool.
Yeah, ship it from the store. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. Yes.
I like it. That's good. I like it.
Yeah. And if you want, as an extra special added incentive, if you order now, I will put in the bat as an add-on.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
It's only one per.
One. It's only one
just
add-on.
One. You could just sell the bat. Put it in a ice cube. Ship it dry ice.
Greg Schmidt sharing his bat story. I once thought my college roommates who were passed out on the couch bought some Halloween decorations and thought the bat looked pretty cool until I realized it was real.
That's
cool.
That is a good one. I like it. Like it a lot.
We have the bats in our when we got a light on our next to our neighbor. Somebody has a big bright light, and the bats circle outside. Luckily, they never found a way inside my house. You never know. Maybe I'll look forward to that day.
Wow.
We don't
have I don't have a bat problem in the city. There's a lot of rabbits, but no bats.
Rabbits don't sneak in though. They don't go in your house.
We get the occasional rat in the neighborhood, and we get the occasional skunk in the neighborhood, but mostly rat. Like a lot of times, because I can never sleep, I'm up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I go outside, and literally there's like 2 or 3 bunnies on our front lawn, and it's like, oh my God, bunnies!
Did you name them yet, Johnny?
Story.
I did not name them. No.
Yeah.
I don't know. I may have told this story before on the pod, but years ago, we had a dog, and it was like 2 in the morning. I was probably talking to you, Art, on the phone, and I'm like, all right, I got to go to bed. And then I made the mistake of letting the dog out, and he bolted. He bolted for something, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. And I'm yelling, and it was a skunk, and he got sprayed by a skunk, the dog. And I'm like, oh. And I couldn't bring him in the house. It was just awful. So, so I had him on the back porch. I had her. It was her. I brought her on the back porch, and I was trying to look for something to clean her up. And there was still like some snow. It was like around, February, March. So there's still some snow, and it was late, and all I could find was tomato juice. And I cleaned her up, and then, put her in the garage because I couldn't bring her in the house. It was real bad.
Sure.
Left her in the garage, and a few hours later, my wife woke up, and she smelled the smell, and she looked out on the porch, and she thought I had killed something back there because of all the tomato juice was everywhere. It looked like a crime scene back there. She's like, "What did you do to the dog? Where's the dog?" And I'm like, "Dog's in the garage. Dog's fine."
Kevin wants to know regarding LXT, will there be future booster packs of random character cards and or books?
Not if we don't get funded. But we're hoping.
Before we run, Kevin.
And Kevin did order, I think. So thank you, Kevin.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, that's what we're hoping for is booster stuff and more characters. We have ideas, so we shall see how it goes.
Excellent.
Yes.
That's great.
Universe.
Thank you for all the questions and the answers. We're about 25% funded right now. So that's awesome. We want to try and get to 100% by the end of I think we have 28 days.
GQ Rojo wants to know, did the tomato juice work getting rid of the smell?
No, because then the dog smelled like tomato juice and skunk.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, our dog got skunked once too, and it lasts a long time.
Yeah, that's like an old wives' tale about the tomato juice.
Dawn dishwashing detergent works best.
Yeah, we had to buy special skunk stuff to get rid of him. But
Dawn dishwashing detergent. Yep.
And it made him brown, and then it made him green. So he has white fur, so he was green for a little while. He looked like algae green, like not bright like cinnamon or not cinnamon, minty green. He looked like algae, like the bottom of a fish tank. You know, that kind of, yeah.
Or the Chicago River when it's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like Chicago River, like a week later after it's where it's still kind of green,
faded
like
out
it's still kind of like not as bright. Yeah, like wait a minute, why is your river like that color?
That's something I've always wondered because that stuff gets washed out to sea.
Yeah.
Do the sharks and the whales out there go, what the hell, man?
Yeah, the fish start floating at the top. You see them
Yeah,
after an hour or two.
I really wouldn't count on the city of Chicago like putting a eco-friendly dye in, and if they did, it's probably only recently, like within the last 10 years or so.
Oh,
otherwise, it's, hey, nice, let's put that green dye there. Hey, you see all the fish floating at the top? Yeah, don't worry about it. They just want air. It's all right.
There were real. Oh, I'm not going to go there, but I'll just say what I'm not going to say. There's a lot of racial comments from our very own mayor when that would happen every year.
Oh boy.
The original Mayor Daley.
Oh,
yeah, he would say all kinds of stuff about it. Yeah.
Well, the old man, the old man, he didn't care. Yeah,
he didn't care. I'm like, whoa, man. But
you're right. You're right about that.
Yeah, he would say a lot of stuff. It's in the history books, kids. Yeah.
Artie, did you see the title of today's episode?
Hi, Oscar. I did.
Thank you. I wanted to bring up the Academy Awards. Who watched it? I did not watch it.
I did.
Yes.
I watched it. I didn't watch all. I probably the last hour and a half, maybe. I saw when Godzilla won, from that to the end. So I saw all the flubs, all the Al Pacino not reading stuff, and
I didn't watch the telecast, but much like the way I watch Saturday Night Live these days, I watched all the clips, and I saw I saw DeVito and Schwarzenegger Yakata.
Yeah, that was real cool.
Tried to kill Batman. Yeah,
but
hilarious to Michael Keaton. That was very
George
funny.
Clooney was Arnold's Batman, so it didn't make any sense.
Oh yeah, it did.
Well,
yeah.
Nobody was paying attention to that.
Well, also Penguin didn't get thrown out of a window either when he said that.
Yeah, you're right.
And then you know what? I looked, and he actually did. He in the final battle. Yeah, in the final battle, they were fighting in the park, in the zoo part, and then Penguin got tossed through glass, and he landed back in his tank or whatever.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So he did.
And all the
and
all the giant penguins like.
Yeah, they
his body and
let him float in the water.
See, I always remember that great scene with Bruce when he takes the mask off and he's telling Catwoman, Selena, let's just go home. And I love that because it really is this like great human moment of all right, and I love too when she realizes he's Batman earlier in the movie and she's like, does this mean we're gonna start fighting?
Yeah, we have to fight now. Yeah.
Didn't she? I'm trying to remember.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Christopher Walken's in that scene. He goes, "Why is Bruce Wayne dressed as Batman?"
He still doesn't get it exactly.
Did Selena Kyle realize he was Batman when she licked him? I can't remember.
They repeated the same line back to each other.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Because
she said mistletoe is deadly if you eat it, and then she said it first or something like that. They switched lines. Yeah.
GQ Rojo says, really happy Godzilla -1 won for visual effects. It's great series. It's a great series mocked for its special effects. Now has received the highest award a film can earn. Yeah, and on a shoestring budget, spending literally 10% of your average sci-fi or superhero movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Yeah, man.
I want to watch it now. My wife was watching Emma Stone's movie right now, today, right when I came down here.
Sure.
And I saw Emma Stone. She grew out her eyebrows, and she was fornicating a lot.
Yes, she was.
Of Emma Stone. And you saw her speaking in a in an English accent, but more like a zombie English accent. It was strange, and I realized that the cliche in Hollywood is you have to play a prostitute or a what do you call, or an ugly person to win the award.
Right.
And she does all of it.
Physically challenged, Yeah.
Yeah, she does all of it.
I'm gonna get it this year.
She goes, I'm gonna grow out my eyebrows. I'm gonna be a fornicator, and I'm gonna speak in a weird accent, and I'm gonna win. And I guess she was part monster. I don't even know, but it looked like
it's kind of like loosely based on the story of Frankenstein.
Yeah, and it was really
Mary
interesting.
Shelley, maybe? Is that what's happening? Is she Mary Shelley?
No, I think it's a great story.
I think she's the monster. She's the Frankenstein monster. I think.
Yeah, she's definitely created it because I didn't really pay attention, but that guy who we just said, no, not him. The guy was the Green Goblin. Willem Dafoe. He's in it, and he looks awesome, and he's got makeup and stuff. So I didn't know what exactly. He seems like he was Dr. Frankenstein. So I want to see that movie again. I want to watch it to see the whole thing, but it looked pretty cool. But my wife was into it, and I said, "How is it?" She went, "It's weird," but she kept watching it.
I got burned, and I wouldn't say burned because they were free movies, but really during COVID, a lot of the Oscar-nominated movies, I didn't give a shit, and it's and now, so it really was like, all right, the only ones I saw were Barbie and Oppenheimer. And even the ones that were on the streaming channels that I own, I haven't watched. I didn't watch the Scorsese movie about the Native Americans. I didn't watch Maestro on Netflix or Napoleon. So I'm like, I don't care. And now all I was hearing was, oh my God, the Oscars were entertaining this year. And also, it was weird that it started an hour earlier. I didn't realize that.
Oh,
started at 6.
I didn't see any of the movies.
There you go. Yeah. No, I hear you, man.
Hey, man.
Hey, man. The winner is Sammy Davis Jr. for Salt and Pepper, a fine film he made with
Shooby. Yeah.
Peter Lawford movie that he made.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here I go again. Not that song.
No.
Oh, all right. Good. All right, sorry.
Not at all. Yes. Yeah. The movie. Thank you, Wayne. The movie. That Emma Stone won for is Poor Things. And Barry said Poor Things is the strangest movie I've ever seen. I can't tell if it's good or not.
Right.
Excellent. Yeah. Anthony, not on topic, but I will put it up. I was on a camping trip one time in Wisconsin, and I woke up to what I thought was the Gucci Nana in my tent. Turned out it was just Jurassic Ernie.
Oh, yeah. I understand how that can happen. Yeah. Yeah.
And Chemdog is correct. John Cena came out with it looked like he was naked except for the envelope. And that's because back in 74, I remember watching that live when the streaker showed up as David Niven was presenting. And for having that happen to him, he's like, well, it's nice to see the man was willing to share his shortcomings with us.
Oh, did he say that?
and that great British accent. Yeah, it's like, all right, way to go, Niven, man. All right, we like it.
That's what I liked about Keaton and Arnold and the Penguin. And they said, there's Batman right there. Like, I told Franklin yesterday, if that was rehearsed, he did great. But if that was like improv, man, he did phenomenal because he
was rehearsed.
Was it rehearsed?
Yeah, he's on the SNL podcast this week, and I was surprised because literally, the Oscars only being 3 days later, so I don't know when they recorded it, but they're like, we got to know, was it rehearsed? And he said, yeah, it was. And I forget what he said. Everyone should listen to the latest episode of Fly on the Wall, the SNL podcast. But he said he offered a different response, and they're like, "Nah, we think it's funnier if you just have kind of a pissed off look on your face and stuff."
Smirk, Batman smirk.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it did work. Oh no, that was awesome, man.
Did you see the Spielberg one too? When the weird Barbie girl was saying she was sending her nude photos to somebody, but I forgot who they were talking about. Yeah, and they said, no, it wasn't him you were sending the photos to. And then she says, well, who am I sending to? Then they showed Steven Spielberg in the audience, and he looked at the camera and went, he pointed at him, and that was cool too. I was like, man, that was so cool. If he didn't know that was coming, that's brilliant. But
I think again, it sounds like they rehearsed those, but it's good, and hey, if it's entertaining. God, I remember when Alec
the whole
Baldwin
thing
and
was
Steve Martin were co-hosting, and they were talking about the different people that they had sex with that were in the audience. And they cut to Julie Andrews, and Julie Andrews gives a thumbs up. And it's like, yeah, way to go, Mary Poppins. You're cool. So,
funny.
yeah, very funny.
Funny.
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm like kind of scanning down if did Spider-Man win? No, the boy and the Huron won.
The Heron, yeah. Yeah, I saw that the Spider-Man actor who did the voice of Miles put up like a tweet saying, "We were robbed, blah, blah, blah." And then he went on and deleted it and apologized later.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. My God. But I mean, they did win. They did win for the first movie, so they really have nothing to complain about.
Yeah,
that's right.
I don't know.
The Heron movie was the first traditionally animated movie to win in a long time.
That's good.
It was all Pixar pixelated stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know,
Wow,
true
that's
story.
cool. Wow.
Wow, that's great. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Wow, it's great. So great.
Johnny, did you see where Kimmel read a tweet during the middle of the show? And it was like Jimmy Kimmel is
angry tweet.
He just
that
read
was at
one
the end
live.
of the show.
He read one live during the show. He's like, Jimmy Kimmel is doing a horrible job hosting. Yeah. Nobody watches this. And he goes, guess which former president tweet is watching the Oscars?
Oh, I did hear about that. I did hear about that.
He read it, and it said, "Make America Great Again" at the end of the tweet. Yeah. And then he looked, well, thank you, Mr. President. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, why did he bring that in? Why? He's like, is this the right place to go political? And, and I was like, all right, it was funny. But then I saw it was a real tweet.
Yeah, he really read it.
I read something saying that they told him they didn't want him to do it because he was backstage right before someone told him about it, and they told him the producers like don't do it, don't do it, and he's like, no, I'm doing it.
Because doing it. That's fair because he's zinging him. He goes, well, I'm going to zing you back on live TV. You know, totally. I thought that was it could have been anybody zinging him. I would have did the same.
And then he said, instead of "Isn't it past your bedtime?" he said, "Isn't it past your jail time?"
I did see that response.
That was funny.
Also,
that was witty.
Speaking of senior moments, how about Al Pacino reading Best Picture?
Oh yeah.
I like. All right, I see the winner and
the lady.
He just he just came out. I was watching it live. He just came out and now Al Pacino, he's like, he had to get a babysitter for, that was a joke. He got a babysitter for a night because like he has like a 28-year-old wife and he's like 85 years old.
He's got like a 6-month-old kid.
He's got a kid. He's like 80 whatever. Yeah.
So he came out from the curtain and even before he announced him, you saw him peeking out. Like you saw my son behind. And so he just walked out and looked at everybody and they're standing. He goes, "Oh, let's get to it." And he opened it up. Oppenheimer. He didn't even say any prep.
He didn't care.
No, it reminded me of back in the days when
it's funny.
The Golden Globes would always have like a big A-lister like do one of the last presentations. And I remember Elizabeth Taylor being drunk as hell. I remember Sean Connery being drunk as hell. So yeah, it was weird. The G. Kuroda says didn't like The Boy and the Heron, but I'm happy an abstract 2-dimensional animated film is so popular. Sure. And he also said he's glad he didn't have to suffer through Jimmy Kimmel hosting. I thought Kimmel does a good job.
Yeah, he was funny.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
He was funny. And nobody got slapped in the face. It was good.
Which is a nice change, absolutely. And you had an MC that actually had a funny opening monologue. I'm sorry, I refuse to give compassion to Joe Coy for screwing up the Golden Globes. Hey, I only did this on 10 days' notice, and it's like, I don't care. I think you can come up with some decent jokes in 10 days.
Sure, I'm come up with them right now.
Yeah.
We used to do it in radio all the time, man. Mm-hmm. You know, I gotta say, and it's such a standard joke of you got the person that really doesn't matter accepting an award. And I used to make fun of the foreigner. We made this movie on a very small budget, and we da. It's like shut up and get off the stage. We're waiting for Emma Stone to come on, and I love it. but now everyone even does it, and I forget which winner I saw. Who's like, I know nobody cares about my
Yeah,
picks.
they did that to the Godzilla crew.
There you go. There you go.
They took longer because they couldn't read English, so they were
Sure.
trying real hard. And so just let them, just be patient, you'll get it.
Yeah.
But
Good Lord.
that was weird when they said, "Oh, come on, they Godzilla, the Godzilla people." You know?
Yeah, that's not cool. Was there any stupid, like, okay, nobody wants this segment right now, but like I've heard that, like the European and the non-American audience in general, internationally, they want musical numbers. They really want the time wasters and stuff, and the big dance numbers and stuff. And it's like, I mean, I understand for the songs that are nominated, I'm fine with that. I saw Billie Eilish sing her Barbie song.
Oh,
I didn't watch Ryan Gosling do the Ken song.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I heard good things.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was funny.
That's cool.
Like whenever like we're watching the show, it's me and my wife and daughter, and my wife has the controls of the remote. So anytime the music would come on, she would turn the volume way down. Like, what are you doing? Like, I want to hear the song. She went, nah, we'll just wait. Like, all right. So then I'm commenting. I said, nobody's listening to this man except for his grandma. He's playing a song. So everybody just went to the fridge to get a refill. Everyone's ordering their food. And like, you turn the volume down. Come on, let's listen to this man play the piano, whatever it was.
Before he got canceled, I remember Louis C.K. Was presenting the Best Short Documentary Award. And he's like, wow, this guy is going to be pretty proud driving his Nova, having the Oscar on the dashboard as he's driving his Nova home. And it's yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Absolutely, man.
I know they're jokes, but isn't it kind of sort of a little demeaning sometimes, especially like, when they make fun of the animation category.
Yeah.
Like it's like, yeah, man, these guys put their heart and souls in it. That's their livelihood.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Like, kind of fun of the animation. Pissing it away in a joke. Like I think the Kimmel line was did anybody be honest? Who let their kid fill out their ballot for this one? Like for the animation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, come
on. Animation people work when it's raining outside and snowing, not like other actors have to call it because they need to film on location, but it's raining. But no, not animators. They're in there every day, 24 hours, 7 days.
Yeah, I feel bad for the technical awards. Then I remember
they're on a completely different day.
Well, and not only that, but I remember when Letterman hosted, and he's like, they were treated to a choice of fish or chicken for their entree and a cash bar, and it's like pretty much. So
Rock the cash bar. Rock the cash bar.
Mario says The Holdovers was mighty fine. The Paul Giamatti movie.
What's the score of the Mavs game right now, Mario?
Let me take care of that right now and say once again, Mario, we don't even care what the Mavs are doing. So shut up, Mario. But there we go.
I'm gonna look it up.
You did a I Like the Lady reference. I was watching at CNN. They've got a miniseries, The History of Las Vegas, and Wayne Newton is in it. Man, Wayne is not looking good. It looks like he got embalmed for the thing.
Really?
And he's like, oh yeah, well, back in the 60s when I first started working, his eyes are frighteningly.
He looks
giant.
like a piece of lucite.
He looks like his wax figure that's probably at Madame Tussauds wax museum.
Yeah.
Well, rumors are that he died 3 years ago.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. No, they're just propping him up.
Stop with the conspiracy theories, dude. Come on now.
No, it's true. But yeah, so that's why we were saying I like the lady. Scoot to see if I can remember her name. What's that?
Giorino or whatever. Carly Fiorino.
Carly Fiorino or whatever, yeah. She was the tech woman that ran in 2016. I like the lady. I agree, Mario. Mario's watching the new Shogun miniseries. It's excellent.
I want to watch that.
And it's great because, man, that original was outstanding literally 40 years ago.
With Richard Chamberlain? And,
the TV movie. Yeah.
Oh, wait. What's the lady's name? Annabella. No.
I don't know.
No.
I remember those miniseries were all the rage because my parents would watch the Thornbirds, and then they'd watch that one. And They were, man.
I used to call it the Horny Birds. Yeah.
Oh.
My parents would watch the Thornbirds, and I would call it the Thorny Birds. I was never allowed to watch those because it was their show. So
I had to go to bed. Yeah,
they were sexy. I will contend that between Shogun and okay, now I'm blanking. 3 and 4 Musketeers and some of the other movies that Richard Chamberlain made back in the 70s. I think he was one of our de facto comic book heroes of the 70s. You know,
he was the Tom Cruise of his day.
Oh, no question. But I'm just saying, like a lot of the genre fiction that he did, like Shogun and the 3 Musketeers and 4 Musketeers, like, hey man, Richard Chamberlain.
Well, didn't he also come out as well? I think I remember.
I don't remember when he came out, but he did ultimately.
Is he?
Like,
Is he homosexual?
Oh yeah. But he would get all these romantic leads. No, he did.
I think it was after all that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. No, I don't think it was till the 90s that he finally admitted his homosexuality.
I always thought that he would be a good astronaut for a Planet of the Apes movie. I always
absolutely.
thought that when I was a kid.
Yeah,
he would replace Taylor really good, or be the next guy.
Watch his early. He did Dr. Kildare on TV in the early.
Dr. Kildare. Dr.
And he's a beautiful man, and he's Dr. Kilpatient, exactly. But he was really like he was a big romantic lead, and I was going to say in the 80s, well before the movies with Matt Damon, he was the original Jason Bourne in a miniseries of the Bourne Identity. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
He had a good beard too. That guy, real good beard.
Yes, he did in Shogun, certainly. Yes,
he gave a good beard. Yeah.
I beat you to it, Brad. But thanks for playing. Yes. Well, he just said the same thing I just said. So yeah.
Angry Yoko.
He was the miniseries king of the day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're the king, Richard. King Richard.
I just finished watching Julia, which I enjoyed immensely.
The TV show.
Julia Child.
Wasn't that great? I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I'm excited for on Paramount Plus. I just saw it the other day, and I saw hello there, Ewan McGregor on one of the channels this morning about a gentleman in Moscow, a miniseries that's going to be on either Paramount or Peacock.
It's Paramount.
I'm excited to see. Yeah.
Peacock.
Yeah, there's finally something non-Star Trek to get excited about that's on Paramount Plus beyond South Park and some of the other
Urination Penis Network.
They should officially change their name to that, right?
Yeah, or the Urination.
They might have more subscribers if they do. What's that P channel, Martha? I gotta get that.
We used to call it Urination Rooster Channel, but I think Penis would get more people to watch.
Urination Rooster Channel.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say when you were talking about Ghostbusters that we didn't say it properly. You got to say it properly, like Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's coming up in a couple of weeks, or even a week, I think.
I just saw we were talking about this last night. Artie has to see the one with the ladies because I thought that
I haven't
was
seen
okay.
anything. The last one I saw.
I love Kate McKinnon. Kate McKinnon.
Oh, so do I. Well, and honestly, I love Kristen Wiig, and I love Leslie. They're all good.
Yeah.
Even
she was the best part of that movie. I like Kate McKinnon. It was okay, but the last Ghostbusters movie, where they did the reboot, Afterlife.
Yeah,
I just watched it again the other day. It's okay. I liked it.
Okay.
I'm never gonna watch the lady one. It sounds like,
it's horrible. It's horrible.
So I'll probably like it because it's so bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm
saying.
Well,
that's true. That might be one of those reverse lady movies.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch one with the Stranger Things kids. I will, but I don't care. I don't really need to. But I
have to say, seeing the trailer for the new one, I'm a little more interested in this one because everybody's back. That's alive.
Annie Potts is in it. That's why.
Yes.
Dreamy.
And she's a Ghostbuster.
And she's a Ghostbuster now, and Bill Murray too. You got
to watch Afterlife, Artie. I think you'd like it.
Yeah,
Bendis met Annie Potts, and I forget in what capacity, but he got her to do his answering machine, and literally she started with Ghostbusters. What do you want?
Ghostbusters. It was funny. We were watching the Hey Oscars, and when Angela, King Kong girl, Angela Lang,
Jessica Lang.
Yeah, she came
Barbara.
out. Go on. Barbara. They were all reading stuff, and I said, Oh yeah, sure. Jessica Lange. She was dreamy. A lot of guys had crushes. And my
Oh my
wife
God,
looked at
yes.
me. My wife looked at me, and my daughter looked at me. She says, "Dad, every time you said that a lot of guys had crushes, it means you had a crush." I'm like, "Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does."
I had a crush on her.
How old is Audrey now? It took her that long to figure it out.
She's 18. Yeah, she knows. Yeah, but even the walk like an Egyptian girl, Susanna Hoffs.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
I said, all it is that 2 seconds of the eyes looking across when walk like an Egyptian.
She is a vampire. She is like
Yeah.
60 and still ridiculously beautiful.
Yeah, we follow each other on Instagram. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, I hope she follows me. I'm not sure. I can't prove it quite yet, but I know I watch her, and it feels like she's talking to me. You know.
And I agree with.
And by you follow her, you mean you're stalking her?
I watch her videos. She does videos in her kitchen and on her staircase, and she just sings every day with a coffee cup. It's kind of funny, and most people think, "Wow, she got a little loopy." I'm like, "No, she's better now. I like her like that." You know, so she's cool. She wears big sweaters and dances around.
Artie G. also a big fan of Jessica Lange, and I agree. The film I fell in love with her with more so than even King Kang back in the day was Tootsie. She's adorable in Tootsie.
That's right. Yeah.
There was now. This
King
is
Kong in
something.
A waterfall.
This is something from my younger childhood days that I vividly remember. Okay. So, when we have these things like I've told you this when I was a kid, I get up on the Saturday mornings and watch the Super Friends. And at the end of one episode, there was hey, you can write a script for the Super Friends. And I missed the address. So I waited for the next week and then it didn't show up. People are like, oh, that never happened. I'm like, it did. I saw it. I know I did. So this is something I definitely saw. So
I believe you.
I grew up with Italians all around, so they read Italian magazines.
Ironic, given that you're Italian, but okay.
Yeah, a whole bunch of them.
So they read Italian. They got Italian magazines with Italian words in them and stuff like that. But magazines, and there was a picture of Jessica Lange on the set of King Kong, and he knocked her bosoms out, like they came out of her.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing.
Wow.
I remember seeing it in the magazine. No, but these were pictures in the magazine.
Oh,
of
I see.
her, studio pictures.
You didn't have to press the pause button.
It was in a magazine. I didn't.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Was no magazine pause button, but all right.
But so this thing exists, and people are like, no, we never, It did. I saw it.
That's like Cheryl Teague's. I think it was in SI, but I remember seeing it in Time magazine. She had a white one-piece bathing suit, and she's coming out of the water, and it is transparent, and it's like, there's Cheryl Teague's, everybody.
Yes,
and
it was very fishnetty.
I became a man that day.
Yeah, I know that one.
You can find that photo, everybody. Feel free to, while you're listening.
That was the next best poster after Farrah. That was the next one.
I completely agree.
Absolutely.
Well, she had her. I don't remember if it was made into a poster. I don't think, but she did have a great poster of her in a two-piece that was pretty damn sexy as well. I was a big Cheryl Teague, even more so. I had the Farrah poster, but I was much more of a Cheryl Teague's guy. I have to admit.
No, Farrah. That was I had that poster in my room. Yeah.
I get it. I like Kathy Ireland and Billy Joel's wife.
Kathy Ireland had Christy Brinkley. Kathy Ireland had a very square jaw and one eyebrow, right?
Yeah.
But still hot.
Yeah. Oh,
and Christy Brinkley's still flying at 70.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
she's on Instagram all the time. She looks amazing.
She's just ordered a whole bunch of replacement parts, and to get her planes are getting new engines. They're getting oil changes, all kinds of stuff. She got them on a runway, just warming up every day. Yeah.
Hey, while we're talking about the Oscars and animation, can I play something cool that I found on YouTube that actually involves me?
Yes.
All right.
I want to hear it.
This is, I swear to God, from 1989. And Mel Blanc had released his autobiography called That's Not All, Folks. And he was on a local radio show. And I'm just going through YouTube rabbit holes looking at what random stuff. And I'm like, let me see if I can find a Mel Blanc interview that I haven't seen before. And somebody posted the audio, and I'm like, wait a minute. This is from Chicago. I remember this. And then I'm like, wait a minute. They took calls, and I actually got to call in and ask Mel Blanc a question. So, and I'll warn you now, because Mel didn't quite understand the question I was asking. And you got to remember, too, this was 1989. So we didn't have Ren and Stimpy. We didn't have South Park. We didn't have adult animation. And you guys know, growing up with the stuff, 80s cartoons, most of them sucked. And especially ones that tried to be funny, not very funny.
They were made for kids, and that was the problem.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and you know, Artie, you remember, too, the parent groups are like, oh, there needs to be educational stuff in there. I saw you last night talking about BJ and
Gore.
Yeah, it's because the cable TV was coming, and they needed to regulate children's network, and that's what happened to Bozo. Bozo went away because of that. And,
but it was an overreaction to, and I understand.
Yeah,
if you watch, and there are tons of not only the cartoons from the 60s and 70s, but the commercials as well. And you watch a Captain Crunch commercial that was made by Jay Ward, the guys who made the Bullwinkle cartoons, and Dudley Do-Right. It's looks just like a cartoon. I mean, there's no difference. So I think that's why the parent groups, were kind of complaining. But of course, they overreacted. And I was going to say, with BJ and Dirty Dragon, he stopped doing Giggle Snort because the parent groups and the syndicators are like, you got to put more lessons in. And he goes, can the kids have a break and just have a half hour that they're laughing at something? Do they need to learn something 24/7? So anyway, so that's to explain my question, because if you're younger, you may not realize there weren't adult animation like there was if you go back to the original 40s and 50s cartoons too. So I try to underline it, and while I was trying to explain what I was asking, Mel started answering, so we both kind of stepped over each other, unfortunately. This is only 2 minutes long. I appreciate you guys indulging me. Here's me and Mel Blanc from 1989.
This is Chuck Shaden. Mel Blanc is our guest tonight, the man of 1,000 voices, creator of so many of those wonderful Warner Brothers voices, cartoon characters, and, of course, a whole second career with Jack Benny and other radio broadcasts. Listeners are checking in with us tonight, Mel, and John is on the line with a question.
Okay.
Go ahead, John.
Okay, hi, guys. Mel, I had a question for you. I grew up in the late 60s and early 70s and really got to take advantage of the great voices that you did for all the great cartoons from the 40s and the 50s and obviously the 30s. I have a question. What do you think of TV cartoons today? To me, it seems like they kind of lack the fun, satirical snideness that your cartoons and a lot of the Warner Brother and Hanna-Barbera cartoons had. And I just wanted to know what you thought of today's cartoon.
Well, let me put it this way. The cartoons that you see today are done under limited animation. You see the character stand still, and his eyes maybe blink a little bit, his mouth will move a little bit, but the character himself doesn't move. And the reason for that is it's too darned expensive to take individual shots like Warner Brothers does. And Warner Brothers have always made full animation. In every frame that they put out, you have a different drawing on it. Uh-huh. And the reason for that is that they sell it to the 3 networks on television or a theater. And that's why they can afford to do it with full animation. Whereas limited animation costs about 1/10 what actual full animation costs. That's why you don't see them move around too much.
Well, I don't know. It just seems to me the writing is even just not as fun and not as much of a mass appeal thing.
Warner Brothers staff, and these guys, they went through all the actions, and they're just They were just marvelous.
Well, they hold up great, and really, it's a pleasure that you're still able to do the great voices. You're a rare talent, sir.
Well, thank you very much. That's very nice of you.
Oh, yeah, Johnny.
Now,
younger
Johnny, that was really cool, but I can't help but think current Johnny would have said, all right, now you didn't answer my question.
I would have gotten angry at him, yeah. You know what sucks? The poor guy passed away like 6 months after that interview. And I did. I probably killed him, exactly. Now, if you couldn't understand when we were talking over each other, I obviously underlined the question. And he said, "Oh no, the Warner Brothers writers were great."
Yeah,
and I probably should have realized, even in 1989, he was still getting gigs. He was Captain Caveman and some of the other stuff he did in the 80s. So I probably didn't want to shit on the current product because he knew he was still making money. But
the Daffy Duck show was still on. He was still Daffy Duck and Speedy Gonzales the show was on. So that's
thanks. And thanks everybody. I appreciate everyone saying nice things.
Yeah, it was cool.
But Yeah, man. Mel Blanc was certainly one of my heroes, and I certainly started mimicking and doing voices because of him and June Foray and Dawes Butler and Don Messick and those guys. That's why when I talked to Otter from Animal House, Tim Matheson.
Oh yeah.
He as a kid, he was the voice of Johnny Quest, and also did Young Samson. So he worked with all those guys at Hanna-Barbera in the '60s when he was a teenager and everything. So,
oh yeah,
that was cool.
And also, other people have pointed out, not so much on the chat, but it's like, man, your voice was a lot, warmer. I'm like, yeah, that's before the weed, that's before the booze.
How old were you then? Were you doing? Were you still in school? Or were you?
No, I was out of school, '89. So I was 64. So
you're right out of college, kind of.
25. No, like 25.
Oh,
I was back up in Chicago, and so I had a couple of years down in Central Illinois as a radio person. So I was, and also was even doing occasional sports radio, talking boxing and stuff with Chet Kopic. So I was kind of, I knew what I was doing in terms of asking a question for the most part. But it was great, and I was nervous as hell. I got to be honest, because I'm like, oh my god, I'm talking to Mel Blanc. This is going to be amazing. Yeah. So,
like after you talk, because I know I do this. After I talk to somebody or have a meeting or meet a famous person, and then like 2 minutes later, do you think, stupid, what did I say? Why did I say? Like, I know when I walk, I was like, why did I tell him about? Why did I talk to him about that? Like, why did I say that? That's almost like
after every interaction I have. Like, I went to the grocery store today with the cashier. I'm like, oh, why did I say that?
I could have said this. Oh,
Johnny, I wish you would have, when you asked the question, you would have said, like, whatever, like, what do you think of today's writers? And before you answer, could you please answer as Bugs Bunny? Thank you very much.
That would have been cool.
He was doing voices during the interview and stuff. But yeah, I really, it's like, all right, let me give him a break.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Thanks, man. No, believe me, I was so thrilled to find it because I only have so many air checks of my really ancient radio work. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome, man. This is like 2 minutes of me going back and forth with Mel Blanc.
And you just happen upon it, basically?
Yeah, because I was looking I saw on Facebook, there's a great clip, everyone should look for it, and it's on YouTube as well, a Johnny Carson episode where Jack Benny is on. And then midway through the interview, they bring Mel Blanc on to sit with them. And they're just going over old radio routines that they did together. And I'm like, man, Mel Blanc was the man. And I'm like, and I've watched documentaries, but I'm like, maybe there's an interview out there that I haven't heard before. And somebody just generically just put a Mel Blanc interview, 1989. I'm like, oh, maybe this will be good. And it was, again, this radio show. And I'm like, wait a minute, I remember this, and I think I was on this show.
I think I was on there.
Hey.
Johnny, you're a Chicago legend.
Yeah, sure. But
Chicagoian.
No, it's amazing. Yeah, you're right, Chicorojo. Blanc was still doing voices for the film compilations for Warner Brothers and, of course, Roger Rabbit and commercials. Yeah, he and the guy who voiced Space Ghost, Gary Owens, they had a commercial production company in L.A. until Mel died. And really, Mel's son, Noel, ran the business and took over after Mel died. I mean, not the voices, the business side. Mel wanted Noel to replace him once he, was no longer able to do it. And Noel, wasn't the talent that his father was, unfortunately, but he was a good business guy.
He did Bugs Bunny for a little bit, I think.
He did. And Elmer Fudd for a bit. Yeah. Yep. Not too good. Not too good.
Like it. It's good.
So yeah, thanks for indulging me. Very good.
Yeah. I think Dan DiDio should do a Bugs Bunny voice.
All right, what's up, Doc? I want to tell you.
What's up? Hey, anybody got a carrot?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Is there a cartoon voice that sounds like Dan? Kind of the
Yogi Bear.
Yeah, I can. Hey, how you doing, Bubba? All right.
Maybe quick John McGraw. Maybe.
Hey, Baba Louie. All right, I like it. How you doing? El Kabong. I was going to say.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
I was going to say one of the 70s cartoons that most of them sucked. But again, I would point people to this one, The Ant and the Aardvark. And it was made by the people that made the Pink Panther cartoons.
I remember that.
And, it's John Biner, the impressionist, and
I never
he's
knew that
doing
until you told me that. Yeah,
and he's doing the aardvark voice he's doing is Jackie Mason, and so that sounds like that.
I always thought as a kid, that was Jackie Mason.
Yeah.
Well, I think we all
the
did.
ant was always high, like Dean
And
Martin.
the ant was Dean Martin.
Yeah.
And really, if you watch it, you totally can hear John Biner doing his Dean Martin imitation. It's
He
insane.
did both voices, right?
He did both voices. Yes, he did. Yep.
He's like,
And that's
hey
how good he
man,
was.
why are you so mad at me, man? Why are you trying to catch me, man?
There's a great one where the ant starts taking vitamins and he totally gets jacked up. And it's ridiculous because it's this tiny little ant with like an Arnold Schwarzenegger body and stuff. And he's beating the hell out of the aardvark while the vitamins are working. It's very fun. I don't know what the hell happened to that ant, but all of a sudden he's got a punch. He's very jacked up ant.
Hey man,
good stuff.
Where you going, man? Did they ever have a Sammy Davis Jr. voice for a cartoon?
Hey man.
Hey man.
Hey man.
I don't think so. I mean, it's like Larry Storch for Mr. Whoopi on the Tennessee Tuxedo cartoons. He was doing Frank Morgan from The Wizard of Oz. Professor Wonder or whatever his name was. The character he played before he's the wizard.
Quite.
You already had a brain, Scarecrow.
But Mary's about to close up the library.
Oh, yeah, the Clarence, exactly.
Is that him, too? Was that Larry Storch?
No, that wasn't Frank Morgan, but that guy's great. You're right. Harry died because you weren't there to save... And those men died because you weren't there to save Harry.
Yeah.
You really did have a wonderful life, George.
All right, tell me where she is, you drunken old fool.
She's closing up the library.
No, I didn't have a drink.
That's my wife. Anna Reed. Great game.
Bert, I'll hit you again.
Exactly. You kidding? Bert and Ernie. The original Bert and Ernie.
We know all of these
Bert
lines.
the cop and Ernie the cab driver.
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
I like the bartender. Used to go out the window. Yeah.
The great Sheldon Leonard.
Through the window.
Yeah, out the door, through the window.
I don't need you guys giving a place atmosphere.
I work for Martini.
I know this guy. That's another thing.
Stuff.
But
I don't know you from Adam.
He went to jail for poisoning a kid. If you know him,
now here's another cartoon voice, as G. Kuroda points out a quote from It's a Wonderful Life. You once said I was a warped and frustrated man. And that was Lionel Barrymore, but whoever did the voice for Underdog for Simon Bar Sinister, he was doing he was doing Lionel Barrymore.
He was doing Perry. He was doing Potter.
Yeah, Simon Says, dry up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, he was like Lex Luthor, and then he was green too. Like I always thought the cartoon, he was a light, weird looking, sick flesh color. But then when you see him when you see him in comic books and coloring book covers, he was green. They made him green, and that always like he's not green on a cartoon. But then when you look closer, maybe he was. Maybe the color was faded, but he wasn't. He was like a light lime green, like a light, weird looking, sick green.
I'm trying to figure out what celebrity riffraff.
Simon Bar Sinister.
He was the wolf. I'm gonna take care of Underdog.
Oh, the riffraff.
Yeah.
I like that because I remember watching Underdog every day, and I never caught the riffraff cartoons because my brother was a little younger, and he would go to half-day school, or whatever, and then or kindergarten. Then I'd ask him who did Underdog fight, and he said riffraff. Like, who's riffraff? And he tried to draw him for me. He's like, no. I was, what is he? He's a dog. I said, why would he fight another dog? Because I remember seeing an episode with Overcat. And that was funny as opposite.
Yes.
But then I finally saw Riff Raff, and then it was funny. That's Riff Raff. Like, oh, cool. He was a gangster guy, and he had a machine gun.
Ken Doug says he liked it was Mr. Jaws, not Mr. Jaw. And Mr. Jaws, Catfish, I don't remember Catfish, but Mr. Jaws was not Artie Johnson. It was, and maybe Catfish. Maybe you're thinking of Top Cat, but it was
Catfish, the little guy.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember him. I'm sorry.
Mr. Jaws,
But Mr. Jaws was Frank Welker, the guy who did Fred.
Gotcha.
He was doing for Mr. Jaws. He was basically doing Curly from the Stooges.
No, that was Jaws. That was Jabberjaw.
Mr. Jaws, you're right. You are Artie. You are so right. God, thank you.
Yeah, he was on the Pink Panther show with because the Pink Panther expanded one time. The first guy was the Ant and Aardvark, and then they added more cartoons. They added some frogs, some Mexican frogs.
I don't remember.
I forgot what they were called. Yeah, they were Mexican frogs. Because I used to draw these guys all the time, and Mr. Draw had like a vest and a top hat, and Catfish was a little yellow guy. He looked like a cat. And then he had the frogs. I forgot what the frogs were called.
I remember
there was Fatso. One of the frogs was named Fatso, and the other guy was hey, get a little Fatso. And the other guy, I forgot what his name was. But
I remember
a fat frog and a skinny. And they wore sombreros.
Yeah. They had a Charlie Chaplin parody where it was baggy pants, and it was silent, and he was
baggy
silent.
pants, baggy pants, and the Nitwits.
And the Nitwits were Ruth Buzzy and Artie Johnson playing their laughing characters of the old lady and the dirty old man, but they were married. And as you remember, Artie, superhero Tyrone was a retired superhero, and he could still fly.
I remember that because the opening of the show, they were on a bench or something. And
that's how they were always on laughing, right?
Yeah, they might have been part of the same cartoon series.
It was.
Baggy Pants and Nitwits.
Yeah, it was Pink Panther stuff. It was that animation.
I remember.
DePathy animation from the early 70s. Yep. Oh, that's funny. All right, Chemdog says the frogs were Tijuana toads.
Oh, Tijuana toads? Yeah,
did they sell
cool.
Did they sell Michoacan while they were?
Yeah, I just found them. I put Fatso Frog Pink Panther, and I found them. And
now I want to watch the Nitwits, because the whole time, Bruce Buzz's like, Tyrone, you have to get us out of here. Do not fear, my pet. I mean, it's great because he's just like professing his love with every line. Artie Johnson, and I love it. That was one of my favorite characters he did.
I like
the frogs.
I like the Inspector Clouseau cartoon.
Zooming in.
Yeah.
There's the frogs.
Oh, I remember the Inspector. Sure.
Yeah, those are the frogs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now that you say it, hilarious.
Poncho and Toro. That's their names, I guess.
Well, and again, it's a different era. I want to watch them because I'm sure they're politically incorrect in the same way that, unfortunately, like, it sucks because, like, the Dick Tracy cartoon, there are a lot of ethnic slurs and characters that really, it's like, that's not a good idea. Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Someone asked me how the Dick Tracy comic book was, and I said it's awesome. It's cops, gangsters, shoot 'em up, bad guys, and it's noir. I wrote that in a comment, and
100%.
A few minutes later, Facebook said, I have two choices. I could get suspended for like 3 days, or I could take it down. I'm like, what?
Why?
It's because my comment was it was questionable, violent, whatever it said, and I'll just delete it. And but because I deleted because the guy who asked me a question, I answered him and he read it, and I'm like, okay, I'll just take it down. And
sure,
I don't know what word it was. Shoot 'em up, bad guys, cops, gangsters. But I don't know what it was.
Do you remember?
Do
you remember DC put out that Treasury edition, oversized comic that collected Dick Tracy comic strips, and they had Flat Top. And Flat Top, oh man, like Flat Top dies in first. It's kind of like the Joker in the first Batman comic book, Batman #1, not Detective 27. But where it looks like he must have died because he was underwater and he was like stuck like under a pier, like two support beams
I'm recalling.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
There was something similar with Flat Top, but in the second story, they shoot him dead. I mean, he's dead.
Well, they killed it. Even Batman killed the Joker in his first appearance. He killed him.
Right.
I forgot how he did, but look, here's Mr. Jaws.
Stand by, zooming in. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Frank Welker that sounded like Curly.
Yeah.
Or no, that's Mr. Jaw. Excuse me.
Yeah, Mr. Jaws.
I got to look him up.
Yeah.
I got to look him up. Man. No, I don't know.
It's a good cartoon.
Hilarious.
It's at Frizz Freeling Productions.
Franco, I wanted to like the Inspector, and I liked it better than the Pink Panther cartoons. Yeah. The Pink Panther cartoons used to annoy me.
Yeah, but the Inspector Clouseau ones, especially with his lieutenant.
Yes.
Long hat.
Yep.
I forgot what they called him.
That was Schneider from One Day at a Time, Pat Harrington playing the Inspector.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Schneider.
No, I'm a massive cartoon nerd. The one thing I really appreciated Mel talking about and I knew this as well. I might have known it at the time, but I've certainly known it since. Like he said, the television budget for limited animation was literally 10% of what the studios were giving them to make cartoon shorts for movie theaters. Where literally it was like $90,000 to make a 6-minute Tom and Jerry cartoon for MGM, and their budget only allowed for $9,000 to make Huckleberry Hound, like a Huckleberry Hound short.
Tom and Jerry was great. I love the Tom and Jerry cartoons, but then when was it Chuck Jones? When he took over later, I hate.
They were not right.
Hate them.
No, they're not funny. They're not funny.
Yeah.
To me, it looked like Grinch cartoons. It looked like the Grinch.
Well, yeah, it has those Chuck. Those Chuck Jones kind of sly, which worked for Bugs Bunny and worked for Daffy Duck and worked for the Grinch. But yeah, man, no,
I can moderately tolerate the Bugs Bunny ones that he did.
Yeah,
but the Tom and Jerry ones were just so bad. Like
they're bad.
When they show them on repeat, like when you come home in the afternoon and Tom and Jerry's on, and the Chuck Jones ones came on, I would change the channel.
Yeah, me too. Look for something else.
It looks good though.
Even worse were the ones from the 70s, where they're just like wide-eyed.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just nodding, and it's like they're friends all of a sudden again. Yeah, really, the 70s and the 80s really screwed over a lot of cartoons.
They can never get Tom and Jerry right. They keep bringing them back. They try to make movies. They're never good.
Yeah, why do they keep mixing them with live action people too?
Yeah.
Well, they did that.
Although I love the old lady maid, Thomas. I always thought that was really
she's good. His name was Jasper in the first one. She called him Jasper.
Oh, Jasper. I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I also love that scream whenever Tom was in pain. Ah!
And he was like a lech too. Like when he saw the female cat.
Is you is or is you ain't?
Yeah. When he had the zoot suit, he cut it out of the hammock and stuff like that.
I also that little gray mouse that was like the country mouse that was Jerry's uncle. That Crembone.
Yeah.
I like the one where when they were musketeers, and he had the little gray mouse.
Nipper or whatever. Yeah, what was his name, Artie? What was the little mouse? Yeah, what was the little
in the cartoons, his name was Nibbles, and in the comic book, his name was Tuffy.
Oh, interesting.
Because they changed his name because in the comic book, he would talk different. In the cartoon, he was like French. He had the French accent all the time.
And the Musketeer one certainly. Yeah.
But I don't know why they changed his name. They say it's the kind of the same guy, but he was a little different. He looked the same, little diaper on.
I'm glad you mentioned the comics because I was just Mark Evanier. If you guys don't know, Mark Evanier, as you guys know, because he's always at San Diego doing panels, and he's an amazing guy. And he's a guy that wrote comics, wrote cartoons, wrote on Welcome Back, Kotter, and a couple other shows, and did game shows.
I didn't know
that. An amazing Hollywood career. But he's got a blog called News From Me, and he wrote a blog post about Dell and Western and Gold Key comics and how important they were. And a lot of times people forget, and when they talk about the Silver Age, they don't bring up Dell and Western. And they had real Disney and Warner Brother animators making extra money drawing the comic books. And they're beautiful, man. Yeah, they are so on model, perfect. Kind of neat.
Yeah, that's cool. And we used to get all those when we'd buy the pack of comics for $1.
The Whitman comics. Yeah, 3-for-1 or whatever.
Yeah, the Marvel and DC ones were on the outside, so you could see the covers, and then in the inside was all those other ones.
You would take them and try and pry them apart to see what was in that middle one.
Yeah. I would buy them, and none of them would have covers. They would all send the covers back.
Right.
Yeah, and for years and years, like I know I said it before, but years and years, I would find books and just to replace, so I would finally get the cover. Like, wow, I read this book. It's my favorite thing. Yeah.
See, a lot of times when I'd get the 3-for-1, it would be all Marvel, but the middle comic would be like Hellstorm or like one of those, not
weird ones. Yeah,
which is great.
You get Spider-Man on one side, and you get Spider-Man on one side, and Batman on the other, and the other one is the Adventures of Jake. Like, who the hell's Jake?
Sad sack. I
I
used to
know,
like
yeah.
sad sack.
Sad sack. Oh,
I used to hope
always
like
think
I
those
hope
are
I
like
get a
the
sad sack this time. Yeah.
crap. Oh my god. And no disrespect to that artist, but
Yeah.
to me, those are the ugliest comics
they
that
were
were on
weird.
the market.
You know what I would do to my brother too when I 4 years older than him, so I used to tease him all the time, and whenever I get him, we read comics, and I look at him and says, you know what? When he get me mad, I said, you know what? He goes, what? Al Milgrom draws you. He went, no, he doesn't, because I remember when Al Milgrom took over Secret Wars 2. We were
Sure.
real mad at the comic, like Al Milgrom. This guy sucks. I hate these. This book is bad.
That's
And I
hilarious.
used to tell him, Al Milgrom draws you. And he goes, oh, yeah? Well, who draws you? I said, John Byrne. John Byrne doesn't draw you. I go, yeah, he does. Look, I look like a John Byrne drawing. But you look like Al Milgrom. He goes, no way. And I say, you know who writes your stories? He goes, who? Steve Englehart. No, he doesn't. Because
I like
he was,
Steve.
yeah, but
I like
he
Al
was
Milgrom.
writing West Coast Avengers that time. And I didn't like those were the worst. Like I would read everything, but I would read West Coast. I don't know if it was West Coast. It was with that guy who demons would come out of his sleeves. I forgot who that guy. Maybe that was Diablo. Maybe it was like, or when I remember when Fantastic Four changed artists and they had all weird bad guys. But I would tell my brother that all those guys wrote his stories. Steve Englehart writes all your stories. No, he doesn't.
Englehart-
Who writes yours? And I was like, Chris Claremont writes my books. He's no, he doesn't.
Englehart wrote the original Silver St. Cloud Laughing Fish Joker story.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I remember reading his. They were weird. Al Milgrom, whatever Al Milgrom was part of, I would tease my brother.
But Marvel Fanfare, you got to give it up to him as an editor, because he was the editor, and he would do kind of like Rod Serling with the Twilight Zone. He would introduce the Marvel Fanfare stories, and those were great stories, man. And it's so funny because they were basically repackaging inventory stories as oh, this is a special. Look, Barry Windsor Smith did a great thing story, and the Warriors 3. I forget who drew it, but Heimdall and Volstagg, and I forget the third guy's name. Good stuff.
Oh yeah. I know those guys.
Like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm echoing. Echo. Why am I going?
Was it Lord Pandemonium that had the demons coming out of, or Master Pandemonium?
Yeah, that's him.
That's
Lord,
him,
and that when I read that one, I was like, "What is this?" And that I think Steve Englehart wrote that. That's probably why I say that.
Sure.
Echo
I like talking to
Cancellation
Steve. I interviewed him a few times in the early days of Word Balloon. He stopped writing comics basically, and he wrote. Didn't he write JLA? No, Jerry Conway did JLA Detroit.
Well, I don't remember.
I like the GLA Detroit.
That's like a generational thing. I mean, it's funny when I talk to Jerry about it, and he's like, "Yeah, kids really, and obviously like Meltzer and Jeff Johns, those guys that were all friends at in Western Michigan University. They all love JLA Detroit because it was in Michigan and everything. And I just remember, like, where the hell's Superman? Where's Batman? It's like these guys.
Yeah, they
suck.
weren't in it. We need in it.
Vibe. They suck.
I liked it because it was so different than GLA. It's like Aquaman's in charge, and who the
Yeah.
hell is Vibe and Gypsy? Who are these people? I thought it was awesome.
Oh yeah, man. Am I
Too
still
funny.
echo?
No, you're good.
I just hit the button.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Let me tell you. What else?
What else we got?
Yeah, I don't know. Scoot and I have been laughing. We don't have to get into politics, but we've been laughing at the politics for the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
The lady. The
Yeah,
lady dropped out.
Wayne Newton.
Text that to you.
Yeah, the other lady dropped out. That's right. Nikki Haley.
Oh, I was at the Teen Book Fest here in Northwest Ohio last weekend.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good. It's always a fun thing because it's like very book-focused kids show up to that one. They're like middle school age and older, so I bring some of my like Dead Man Tells Us Spooky Tales and those type of books. I don't bring the Sammies as much, but they still had them there. Kids were still buying them. But the thing I wanted to tell you was I talked to so last year before the Northwest Ohio Teen Book Fest, I did a special like workshop with this book club at my former school, Rossford Schools, and they were asking me like, I'm into comics, and is there like a podcast or something I can listen to like where? And I was like, yeah, my friend John does the Word Balloon podcast, and that's when I directed him to Johnny's podcast. And later I went home just to double check when I was sending the link, and Mr. Skin was the top video.
That's moods of 2019.
So this year I was like, hey, I saw some of those kids. I'm like, yeah, have you guys been working on your comics? They're like, yeah. I'm like, did you listen to that podcast that I sent you the link to? And they're like, yeah, it's pretty good. And I keep thinking I didn't get any more specific than that. But
yeah, I had to ask my dad who Susan Sarandon was, but he was real happy to talk about it.
Exactly.
They show me their comics and they're all naked people.
Exactly. Scoot, you did a good job on local WFAR, the Jamie Farr television.
Oh,
cool.
Promoting the
on the
book,
TV.
the book.
Yeah, they had me out. So they all know my brother Tim because he used to work there, so they're all friends with him. So they were like, "Oh, does Tim draw?" They're asking like questions before I went. I'm like, "Yeah, Tim and Jeff, my other brother, we all used to draw when we were kids, but I was the only one that stuck with it."
There was one question he asked. I forgot what it was, but news guys, they don't always know what you do. And there was one question that he looked like he set you up to try to stump you, but you answered it and you like twisted. Like I forgot what it was now. But
how long does it take to make one of those? Was it that one?
Maybe one of the questions, and you whatever you said, I'm like, yeah, Scoot, tell him, do it.
Yeah,
but I forgot what it was.
He also asked me Marvel or DC. He asked me that at the end.
That was yeah.
And then briefs, exactly.
Yeah. He's a nice guy though.
That's cool.
Yeah, Eric Hobart, he's cool.
And the lady.
Yeah, and Rebecca Rainier, she's nice too. I had been on her show like years ago promoting the Fantasticon Comic Con that Toledo also did this past weekend.
Fantasticon.
Yeah, but I did the Teen Book Fest instead.
I understand.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, so that was funny. So I saw those kids from last year, and they're like a little bit more grown up, and they said they're still doing comics. So that was cool.
I like I like the library shows sometimes. The people who show up are real into it. Yeah.
Robert Greenberger is teaching how to make comics at the high school and at the college level, and is helping kids. He's a longtime DC editor. He, in fact, of all among the things he edited the Star Trek comic books, and he actually wrote a handful of Star Trek comic book novels, or not comic book, but novels the way Mike Friedman did as well.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty neat. So
we were I was the only comic person there because it was the Teen Book Fest, so everyone else were like authors of like teen chapter books and stuff.
Comics are books too.
Yeah, I know, and
right in the name.
And I think I attracted more of that younger teen crowd, like the middle schoolers, like 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. They came to my workshops where I was like drawing and stuff, talking about cartoons.
You attracted the cool crowd.
That's right. Yeah.
I was telling Scoot this afternoon that 2 new stores opened up walking distance from me, and one, of course, is a new marijuana dispensary. So now it's walking distance away, and I can get something. But also,
you can just stumble over there, Johnny.
Literally.
Hey,
look at me! I know I'm like Otis Campbell, the drunk. Hey, I'm here. What do you got?
You let yourself in, and you lock yourself in the back. Just sleep it off.
Actually, they'd open the door, and it would take 3 days to get the smile off my face.
Take inventory. Hey, what do we need, Johnny?
Well, you know what's hilarious? Yeah. When they open, or at least I thought they were open, and the first 2 times I tried to get there, they were still doing inventory, so they weren't technically open. I'm like, oh man. And then 2 days later, I went, and it was back in 5 minutes, and I waited for like 15 minutes, and they weren't back. I'm like, come on, darn it. So then finally I got in. But a couple doors down, there is a new bookstore. And I'm like, oh, awesome, new bookstore. Well, it's a women's bookstore because they have a sci-fi fantasy section, but it's kind of more like romance novels disguised as sci-fi fantasy.
What does that mean, a women's bookstore? What does that mean?
Do the math. I'm not going to go further.
Do the math.
Yeah. I mean, it had women's issues. It had women, lifestyle books and stuff. And
was there nudity in these books?
No, I don't think so. Orientation and things of that nature.
What'd you buy?
I didn't buy anything because again, it really wasn't for me.
Come
and
on.
They were very nice. They were very friendly. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't find anything that I wanted to. I didn't want to read.
Did you yell at any ladies in there?
No.
Hey, it's not a library.
Hey,
I could talk.
It sucks. You guys suck. Yeah, as Matthew Whitaker said, yeah, I picked up 50 Shades of Johnny. Exactly.
50 Shades.
Yes.
50 Shades.
Yeah. Exactly. 50 Shades of Weed. How you doing, everybody?
We got this light green. We got a dark green. We got a mid-tone green. We got ugly, sick skin color green. We got.
Johnny walks in with a glove and he says, "Fill this glove up with as many gummies as you can."
Here, I will show you what I purchased because a lot of times I get gummies.
Oh.
And instead, they suggested to me to help me sleep to get THC syrup, and it looks like cough medicine, and it's grape flavored, and it tastes like a grape lollipop essentially.
Does it get you to sleep?
Yeah, it helped.
Did they have red flavor? We got red.
They had other flavors, but they're like, I forget what the other. Because I'm like, give me something strong, because I really need the help to sleep. Because sometimes I'll take a gummy, and it really, I mean, again, because I have built a resistance to the stuff, and so I'm like, I need the strong stuff. And it was, either grape or I forget the other flavor. I'm like, well, because I was going to get pineapple. And they're like, no, that's not strong enough. You need the stronger stuff. I'm like, okay.
Here, take two grapes.
It's going to make your mind explode. You're going to see God. That's like the old Cheech and Chong bit.
Would you happen to have the diazepam flavor? I like that one.
Yeah, let's make a dope deal. What happened? I saw God. You saw God.
You saw him again? Yeah, he said hi.
See, there you go. And Jikaro knows what I'm talking about. He says I sometimes use Ollie gummies. They're grape flavored as well. Sure.
He said pack your bags. He's sending a
Mike Jones wants to know, Artie, where you got the Superman patch on your jacket.
Well, I got it at a convention. The guys at the conventions have the patch guys.
Sure.
There's one guy who has the patch. It's real big. I want to get it and put it on the back. It's a big one.
That'd be great.
Yet. Yeah.
Sure.
Get the yellow one like Superboy, Artie.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
I think that's what stopped me because it was like this, and I wanted the back of the cape,
yellow.
But I don't know why. Or maybe it was $25. Maybe that's what stopped. Something. I didn't buy it, but I want to get one.
All right, shut up, Wayne. Wayne wants to know if I got the senior discount for my purchase. Shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting AARP. I've been getting that mail for a while.
Oh, I'd be thrilled if I got a senior discount at the weed store. Absolutely. Yeah. I was going to say regarding patches, my buddy Marty Lennertz, who's one of the funniest guys in Chicago radio, still. He has a character that he does that's kind of a Chicago street guy called the Regular Guy, and he does the movie reviews on our rock station WXRT or when I work. And he was on. We had him on the Score, the sports station, to talk about the Oscars. And he said, "You know what drives me nuts about the Oscars?" He goes, "All the statues are the same size." He goes, "I think the award should be commensurate with the level of the category." He's like best actor, it should look like a bowling trophy, big giant thing. And he goes, best sound, give him a patch.
Yeah. There you go, kid. You can throw it to me like frisbee.
Killed me. And to this day, that was in the 90s when he told that joke, and I still use it. Give him a patch.
I might have to get going pretty soon, my brothers.
We can wrap if you want.
Yeah, you guys can keep going. I'm just getting sleepy.
No, maybe we all want to go, Scoot. Maybe you're not the only person that has things to do.
You drank some of that syrup, didn't you?
No, if I did, I'd be like.
I heard they make like cannabis water now, where you could.
They do have. Yes, they do have that. They have other flavored drinks as well. I don't think they work. I try, and maybe they do, and I have tried them in the past, like a long time ago, and maybe they're more potent than they were back in the day. The syrup works. I'm impressed, and you can mix it obviously in water or whatever drink you want. But I kind of literally, it's like cod liver oil or like cough medicine. I literally take a teaspoon or whatever. It's the pinch.
Take your medicine, Johnny.
I say
Franco,
syrup.
I looked at those pages. They look good.
I got 5 more coming.
I'm a syrup guy.
I say syrup.
I'm working on number 10 right now.
Oh, fantastic.
We're crossing like that.
Exactly. Yeah, we're We're not paying attention to each other. We're all having individual
like
conversations.
That's when you know it's time to go.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Thinking about having my balls laminated. What?
Really? You know, that bat could come back.
Bill Cartwright.
Yeah.
Oh! The other day, I'm talking to Dean Asfield, and he's bringing up old artists, and he's like, you know, you'd get a book by Ross Andrew. And I'm like, Ross Andrew, fantastic. My favorite artist, Ross Andrew. And I was dying. I'm like,
Did you bring
you
it
have
up
no
to
idea.
him? Did you say that?
No, I didn't. No, it was too inside. He'd be like, what?
Yeah. You'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I love Dean. He's
You
great.
go on a tangent. Like, what's wrong?
But
with
yeah.
me?
Oh, you know what sucks here as I wipe my nose? And again, sorry, everybody. I'm not going to zoom in so you can see it. But you know those? Do you guys get those annoying zits that are right by your nostril and they're kind of buried by the nostril?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
sure.
Worst.
Yeah.
I know. Sorry.
Oh god. Ooh.
Enjoy your meal, everybody. Exactly.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Well,
All
thanks.
right, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't forget, everybody, the LXT
Yes.
Kickstarter campaign is up and running. And
We would appreciate your support. And if it's not your thing, if it's not horror or not games, we would appreciate a share. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
We'd
Yes.
like to get funded. We got 28 days to go. We can do this. We can do this together. And also next time we'll tell ghost stories because we didn't do it on this one.
Oh,
So
I
we'll
got
tell
Yes,
ghost
someone
stories.
said your backstory quality. D. Brad, I think, said that as far as he's concerned.
No, that was a real thing. The
Yeah.
ghosts are in the attic. Well, I'll tell that story next time.
That was a nature story mostly.
Yeah.
It could have been a superhero origin story too. But you got to see
Origin?
what happens.
Yeah.
You know, if something licked your wife, you know, she might she went to the doctor. Maybe the vaccine they gave her is gonna, you know, mix with the chemicals from the bat, and she's gonna come back and
I
hanging upside down
apologize
when you
that
finish.
I'm sorry. I apologize that I don't have here. I'll try it before we leave for the people that are asking for it, because people are asking for
Give it to him, Johnny.
for the link for LXT.
Oh,
the Kickstarter link, and I can put it in the chat.
Yes. Or you can just go on Kickstarter and just type in LXT. It'll come up in the search bar for Kickstarter.
I like.
Yeah.
I understand that too, but hold on, I want to see, because did you have it in your?
Thank
There
you.
it is.
Thank you.
There's
Yeah.
got to be
Any,
something there.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
open up a
any
bar and
support.
call it.
Scoot did a wonderful piece. Should I show Scoot's piece that he did?
Sure.
Yes.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it while you're getting that link. Exclusive on this pod right here.
I did a spooky guy.
Yeah.
Did
Exclusive.
you? I didn't see your art. It's not on the Kickstarter
No,
page?
it's a
is it?
secret. Yeah, Franco's keeping it secret.
Here it is.
There it is.
The chat, everybody. Go ahead when you're done.
This is Scoot's artwork. Oh,
Ooh.
Nice.
Lindsay.
Like it.
Yeah.
Look at all that.
Good stuff.
He
Yeah,
scared
man.
me.
That guy looks frightening.
Exclusive.
He's got a skull.
Exclusive.
He looks very warm.
Yep.
Yes. True.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you, Wayne.
Oh, what? Wait a
You
minute.
can also in the Kickstarter, you can search my name and it'll come up as well.
This guy's telling us stories.
Jacob wants to know, when do I get audio versions of the new IEA pod? I've been subscribed to IES since its inception and with Apple Podcasts over the last 3 years, but that podcast hasn't been updated since 2022.
Oh.
All right, I apologize for that. And what I've been doing is I've been putting the audio in the word balloon feed, Jacob. So if you go there, every is there as well. I do still have the old feed, and but I guess he wants the audio version because he can listen to it at work.
Yeah,
So I understand. And also, someone asked me earlier before we wrap up what I thought, and I wanted to get Artie's thoughts on this as well. We'll shift to our favorite subject, boxing. I like boxing. So you like boxing? Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson coming up this summer on Netflix. What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna watch it. Definitely gonna watch it. If I know Jake Paul, I know what he could do. But if Mike Tyson goes in there and wants to fight, he's gonna hurt Jake Paul bad. And Mike Tyson, you got to get past the third round with him because he's probably gonna get tired if he's trying to knock you out. But he's gonna hit you hard. He's gonna take it easy on him, I think. But his punches are. I think he's going to hit his body.
You think he's
real
still
hard.
going to be able to? When was the last time he fought?
He fought
3.5.
Jones.
Yeah, 3.5 years ago. And Artie, you saw that fight, didn't you?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
And everyone, including Roy Jones, everyone was expecting a pity pat exhibition.
No.
And Tyson ripped some body shots and Roy Jones was hanging on for dear life because they heard it.
Wow. He didn't try to destroy Roy, but he was hitting him. He didn't want to knock him out. He wanted to fight. That's what they wanted to box.
And like you said, Artie, I'm a little nervous because Jake Paul is the promoter of this. Yeah. It reminds me when Mayweather fought Logan Paul, his brother,
right?
And they clearly, first of all, the height difference was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
and it literally was like a pipsqueak fighting a giant. But
there was one punch in that Mayweather on one punch, he uppercutted the guy, and he felt that punch, and he let him lean on him a little bit to recover. And
sure,
Mayweather let him know that I could flatten you with the next punch, but all right. So I bet Tyson will do that. Or Tyson, I don't know if Tyson likes this guy because he's a loudmouth on YouTube.
Well, I think he likes him.
Yeah.
If he likes him, he's gonna box him and let him survive, I think.
Yeah. All I know is the workouts, and I know that Roy Jones fight was 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
He looks great. I mean, for 50, he'll be 58 this summer when they fight, if it's a real fight. And that's the thing, the parameters of the fight we still don't know. We don't know. I mean, the Roy Jones fight was 8 2-minute rounds as opposed to 10 rounds in 3 minutes and stuff. And and my guess is, my guess is that Jake Paul does not want a 10-round fight with Mike Tyson. It'll be interesting, and I hope he hurts him at least with 1 or 2 punches.
I don't like when they do all the hugging in boxing. I just want to see them fight and punch.
Well, they're trying to get along.
It usually means they're hurt or
they're tired.
They're trying to get the guy to stop hitting me, or they're tired. Yeah, or it's a tactic too, like Klitschko would lean on guys, but yeah, I hope Tyson's looking forward to fighting. He likes it, so
he still trains.
The first 3 rounds he's gonna hurt this Jake Paul.
If there's not an agreement of hey, take it easy on me, I hope to God it's a real fight, because again, I'm sorry, and I respect the people in boxing that have come to accept that Jake Paul isn't bad for boxing. It just, I don't know, man. I mean, we've always had
those guys come out as loudmouths, but Logan Paul is on WWE right now, and he's like kind of crushing it. His storyline is really good, and he's got some moves. I'm like, I was shocked.
Yeah, but I mean, wrestling is scripted, and that's okay. And it's like, don't make boxing wrestling, please.
But Jake Paul, he had a few good fights though. That last fight was pretty good. I mean, I enjoyed it. He won, but yeah.
Well, but he also lost to Tyson Fury's cousin.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was a real fight, and that's good. And it was
real guys. But the more he fights, the guys. Yeah, right. There's a lot
of. But no, after losing to Fury. After losing to Fury, Artie, he was back fighting MMA guys and fighting non-boxers. And it's
I think that last fight was a real boxer, though.
No, it was an MMA guy. No, it was an MMA guy.
Yeah, they're hard to fight. You're taking away their.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's and it's like, of course, when an MMA, in fact, Ngannou, who just fought last Friday and fought Anthony Joshua, great MMA heavyweight champion. Looked amazing, going 10 rounds with Tyson Fury.
That's the same guy, with Fury, right? Same guy.
But again, it's like the guy is used to fighting where he can kick and he can grapple and all the other things you can do in MMA. And in boxing, all you can do is strike. And it's,
Joshua beat him up? I didn't even
know. Blew him out in 2 rounds.
Yeah, because Tyson Fury knew who he was fighting. He was, I'll just take a light and this guy can't beat me. And then he caught him by surprise.
And had to
win.
Exactly. I thought Tyson Fury won against Ngannou, but he had to really suck it up to win every round. So
he could have lost. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Joshua made sure I'm not going to take this guy light. I'm going to beat him up. And Joshua,
all right, there you go.
Whenever Joshua takes him light, he loses.
Yes,
he underestimates his guys. And if you got an angry Anthony Joshua, he's going to win every time. But if he goes in there stupid, he's not going to win.
That's right.
We all want that big fight, man. It's has to happen. Tyson
Fury
and Anthony Joshua, but he's got to fight Usyk first. He's got to fight all these guys. But I don't know. I hope Mike Tyson beats up Jake Paul.
Win or lose, if it's a conclusive fight, even though there is a built-in rematch with Usyk, I bet Fury's next fight is Joshua because there's just too much money. I mean, you know, it's going to be huge. So
and you don't want Tyson Fury to say, oh, "I'm done now. I can retire." There's always
right now he's talking about continuing. Everyone thought, especially the way he took the Nagano fight, that it was, you know, kind of like, all right, maybe the end is near. But he's like, no, there's a lot of young guys that I still want to fight. And it's like, all right.
Yeah.
Why can't these guys just get along? Why can't they just get along?
Why can't we be friends?
Why can't? But they hug at the end and kiss and stuff.
They do.
But
they hump each other's legs.
A little bit. They do some grabbing, like airport style.
Slow dancing.
Yeah.
It's true.
He searches and moves it and comes back down. But then,
all right.
We always said that if Tyson Fury took it serious, man, he would destroy. You know, if he just got, you know, whatever. All right.
I agree. So when you see us,
yeah,
I like Oscars very much, Lois.
Hi, Oscah.
Hi, Oscars.
Don't. This is Pa Kent. Don't save me.
Don't say. You say it before? Should I do the okay bye bye now or okay bye bye later? You guys are awesome. We'll see us. Okay, bye bye.
LXT on Kickstarter. Go down.
Back it now. Support indies. Do it. Yagums.
Okay, bye-bye.